Hello epic viewers from around the multiverse, prepare to indulge in experiencing sheer bliss, because today another Riven and Captain Exceller unboxing video is about to be brought to fruition. What items will I be unboxing, what items will I be opening? Without further delay, without further procrastination, allow me to elicit the box. What items are encompassed inside this bulky hefty count on nifty box? Let's find out. I'm going to demystify that answer to that inquiry right here right now, so bear with me. It'll only take me billions of picoseconds to extract the items from the box and subsequently flaunt them in front of the camera for you to feast your glorious eyes on. Here we go, the boxing process is about to commence. The boxing process is officially underway. What items have I elicited? What items have I extracted? What items have I drawn forth? Let's find out. But before we do, I just wanted to apprise you that this is the third part of my unboxing of the Dragon Ball Z action figure line. If you've yet to check out the previous parts, then by all means do so if you relish and love the Dragon Ball Z series. If you detest and disdain Dragon Ball Z, and if you are discontent with viewing action figure videos, and perhaps you may want to abstain from checking out those previous videos, but implement decisions based on your own volition. Don't be persuaded nor dissuaded by anyone to do anything or to not do anything. So after prefacing that, let's allow the video to reconvene. So in my previous videos, you know that I unboxed action figures of Trunks. If you checked them out, if you didn't, then I guess you're being apprised of that knowledge now. However, let's move on. In conjunction with the Trunks action figure, part of the lot, we also have an action figure of Super Saiyan Gohan. Is he extraordinary? Is he exquisite? Is he refined? Is he incredible? Is he remarkable? What do I think about him? What are my sentiments appertaining to this Gohan action figure? Well, I prefer the younger variant of Gohan. I prefer the teenage Gohan or the kid Gohan over the adult Gohan. Nonetheless, he's still a meritorious figurine. You can see his muscle tones. They're not as bulky as Android 16's muscles. He's not as burly as Hercule. He's not really a burly character, but he becomes a bit bulkier when he's an adult. However, he seems to be not an abysmal figurine. His fists are oriented sideways. He has two-fisted hands. He lacks finger joint articulation. He lacks an ankle rocker. He lacks the ability to move his legs outwards nor inwards. He cannot rotate his thighs. He cannot rotate his calves. He can't rotate his forearms without rotating his biceps and his hands. So everything rotates simultaneously with one another. The context of his arm rotation. He can't rotate the wrist separately, he can't rotate the biceps separately, he can't rotate the forearm separately. Everything rotates in tandem with one another in terms of the components of his arms. Now, unfortunately, he does have some minor scuffs. Some paint is missing in his hair, some paint has chipped off. It's not the end of the world per se, but it is a bit conspicuous from up close. If you're non-meticulous, if you're non-anal, if you are non-analytical, if you're non-scrupulous, then perhaps he will look past his shortcomings. But if you don't want your figurines to be marred with scratches, and if you could instantly detect it, then you will notice it and it will bother you. It may be arduous to notice from this distance or from this perspective because I disabled the autofocus feature on my camera. So his hair has some minor scuffs, but it's not the end of the world. I would have preferred if he had double jointed elbows. I would have preferred if he even has single jointed elbows, if they couldn't add double jointed elbows. But even without that, though, I mean, it's okay. The integrity of his joints has yet to truly be compromised. The wardrobe he's donning looks karate-esque, or looks to be a classic outfit that you would typically see Gohan wearing, or a uniform similar to one of which Gohan would wear. not bad. I mean, the wardrobe could be enhanced, it could be refined, it could be adorned with Saiyan armor and with some more Saiyan-esque look to it, but even without that motif, even without that style, even without a Saiyan look, I mean, he's still an incredible figure. I love his aesthetics. He truly captures the essence of Gohan. He truly embodies Super Saiyan Gohan, so not bad. I mean, I relish Dragon Ball Z. I love to revel in watching Dragon Ball Z episodes over and over again. It's just part of what I love, and I like being associated with products I love, so I won't disassociate myself with this action figure ever. My interests are aligned with my products, so I'm gratified that I possess this figurine, and I really can't pontificate any grievances about these figurines, because for under $4 they have extraordinary value. Alrighty, so another figurine was in the bag is Android 19, I believe. Actually, I believe this is Android 20. Is it Android 19 or 20? Maybe 19, actually. Who knows? I'm pondering whether or not he's Android 19 or 20. But I love this figure. I mean, he fought against Vegeta. I said Vegeta, sorry about the blunder. Let me revamp that. Let me refine that. I'm going to modify my diction. He engaged Vegeta in an epic bout. Of course, Vegeta prevailed. This android, I believe, was beheaded, and Vegeta was able to decimate him by leveraging the Big Bang attack. He's just a classic Dragon Ball Z character. His cameo appearance in the series, his fight against Goku and Vegeta. His fights against Goku and Vegeta are relatively brief. They're cut short. They're the lengths of these fights are relatively truncated in the Dragon Ball. Let me just revamp that one final time. Sorry. The lengths of these fights are truncated in the Dragon Ball Kai series. So he may not be very memorable, but if you love the androids, if you love that saga, if you love that story, if you love that plot line, if you love the villainous characters involved in that arc, that this figurine will likely appease you. Now, why do I say he's so extraordinary? Well, he has 5 points of articulation, and you may say, oh, that's abysmal, that's subpar, that's non-adequate, but I beg to differ, because for under $4, I mean, you truly can't go wrong, especially if you relish Dragon Ball Z. His details, his wardrobe, his design, his sculpt, his hues, his textures, his shadings are just superb. He's a top-notch figure. I mean, at least from the perspective of a buyer who procured him for under $4. Even though his hand is open, even though there's apertures between the fingers, he still has his absorbing device. So I guess it's okay. I would say I prefer my action figures to always have two-fisted hands, but in this context, I mean, it's okay that he has an open hand, because it allows you to see his absorber. It renders his absorbing device transparent, so he's able to essentially stifle energy from his adversaries. So that's nice. And then, of course, you have this menacing, intimidating, dominant facial expression. He looks like he's unstoppable. He looks like he's a juggernaut in his own right. He looks like he's omnipotent, and he truly looks like he's a fearsome foe. He looks like someone who you shouldn't meddle with, nor tamper with, nor get on his nerves. So he's truly intrepid, he's truly audacious, and he's a temerity to take on anyone. And even though he ran away from Vegeta in the anime, he was willing to engage in a brawl against him, even though he knew the powers of a Saiyan. prior to the advent of him opposing Vegeta. His incursion against Yamcha, his incursion against Goku was eventually ended, and his life was in peril when he voluntarily chose to combat Vegeta. So that didn't turn out well for him, but his demise did not culminate in the end of the reign of the androids. His demise only empowered Vegeta and led the Z Fighters to take on Dr. Gero, which subsequently led to Dr. Gero fleeing to his base and discharging the androids from their chambers. So it's an interesting saga. Android 19 or 20 was dispensable, and he was mainly utilized to gauge the abilities of the Z Fighters, and he wasn't really the brunt or the secret weapon behind Dr. Gero's attack force. That was reserved for Cell and some of the other androids. So finally we're going to be showcasing one more item that's obscured by tissue paper. It's none other than the heroic, divine, renowned, extraordinary, low-class Saiyan warrior Goku. And I say that he was a low-class Saiyan warrior with sarcasm, so even though he was born as a low-class warrior, he's anything but a low-class warrior. Now, he's donning the outfit, or the uniform, or the wardrobe, or the attire that he utilized when he engaged against a bout against Perfect Cell. He was able to withstand and sustain Cell's brutal attacks, and unfortunately this figurine has open hands. I mean, it looks uncanny, it looks bizarre, it looks unusual, it looks out of context, and it's not very appealing per se. Nonetheless, he's still an incredible figure for under $4. He lacks elbow joints, he lacks a diaphragm joint, his legs are a bit loose. Fortunately, his torso and his pelvis are sturdy. His head is sturdy as well. His left leg feels relatively flimsy. He's not an abysmal figure. Now, I just think that he could have been drastically improved if he had fisted hands, because it just looks awkward and just subpar and aesthetically unappealing to see your figurines like this. At least the hands are oriented sideways, and he does have the ability to swivel his wrists. That's not bad, but he can't ascend or descend his head, so the articulation is finite. His latitude for articulation is finite. He cannot twist his ankles, he cannot twist his thighs, he cannot rotate his calves. So even though his articulation is finite, I mean, he's still an incredible figurine for under $4 because he embodies Goku. So those are the figurines that were within the box, which I wanted to showcase. I removed them from the bag that was originally in this box, but stay tuned for the subsequent part of the unboxing. I'm going to unbox the remainder of the Dragon Ball Z action figure lot. I love these figurines. I really can't complain, and for under $4 I'm content, I'm gratified, I'm jubilant, I'm buoyant. I hope that you deem this video to be intriguing. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.